Well, forget SUVs and forget dual cab utes. This is Toyota's most important model launch of the year. And it's also been Australia's #1 selling passenger vehicle for the past 5 years. Now, while we won't be receiving this new model until August, we're here in sunny San Diego in the US of A to drive the same drivetrains and most of the same spec we'll be receiving when it does come later this year. The all-new Corolla gets a complete makeover inside and out, and its new exterior styling looks sharp. Its aggressive grille and pointy front end work well and is particularly striking in the new Smurf blue and black paint options. Toyota says it's a premium inspired aesthetic, and indeed the Japanese brand has added some European appeal inside too, with a much nicer cabin setting. The top spec variant also gets a good bit of gear, including larger alloy wheels, body kit bits, leather and fabric seat trim, wireless phone charging, heads-up display and an 8-inch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay. But don't get sidetracked by the new bits and bobs, because the big news is the class-leading safety tech as standard across the entire range. It includes things like AEB, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, roadside recognition that's developed for Australian conditions, and blind spot monitoring. It's going to be a strong competitor to rivals like the Hyundai i30 and Mazda 3 when it lands here later this year. Well, inside certainly a bit nicer in this new generation Corolla. Toyota's played a bit of focus into its design and decluttering the area, adding new materials, a lot of new soft touch points and softer materials which just add to a bit more of a premium feel inside. It's also a cleaner aesthetic to look at. It's a decluttered design. All of the buttons are focused around this central floating infotainment style tablet, which is a contemporary move by most manufacturers, but it works quite well here. Underneath there's the dual zone climate control. It's all very clean. Leather steering wheel, leather gear knob in either the CVT or the manual. So overall it's a nicer interior. It definitely feels like it's stepped up its game a little bit, and it's going to be quite compelling in its segment. We're only testing the all-new 2-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that's lively and energetic despite mild power output figures of 126 kilowatts and 205 Nm of torque. It can be mated to either a 6-speed manual transmission with automatic rev matching or a CVT. But the CVT gets a world-first launch gear that helps disguise the usual CVT criticisms. Well, Toyota has certainly transformed the ride of its new Corolla. It rides on an all-new TNGA platform, which promises to be 60% higher in rigidity compared to before. It leads to nicer handling, more stability, better ride. It also has new multi-link rear suspension, so overall this new Corolla it's quite a step up from what it used to be. Pretty competitive on paper with all of its rivals, but when you drive it, I mean, it feels pretty punchy, either behind the CVT or the manual. It's got plenty of go. It accelerates really well. The CVT with its launch gear, which basically puts a real cog next to the CVT band, it's got a noticeable pickup off the line. There's no lag, and it makes driving around the city and around town, it just makes it easier, and it also provides a lot of shove and acceleration. On top of all of that, of the ride and the handling, is the standard safety suite available across every single model range, and it's very comprehensive. There's autonomous emergency braking, as well as adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist. There's also road sign recognition, which will read stop and give way signs and just keep an eye on what the driver's doing at that moment. It's also got lane tracing, which you can use in traffic. So if there's a bit of congestion, it puts the adaptive cruise control and the lane keeping assist to work together just to follow traffic, stop, start and go, all that kind of stuff. It's the sort of features you would expect to either have to pay to add on to a model or only get on the top spec, but it starts at the very base model, and that helps make for quite a compelling package. Toyota says they're going to keep the pricing pretty competitive, so it'll be interesting to see just where that lands, because that might be a bit of a tipping point for some buyers. Toyota is not talking about pricing yet, but the new hatch will land in Australia in August this year. The local arm also expects pricing to stay competitive to rivals and not wander far from the entry model Corolla Ascent's current starting price of around $24,000 drive away.